Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, January 21st. A change in presidential administration, a TikTok ban, and a ceasefire in Gaza. Plenty happened over the extended holiday weekend that investors will be marrying on today as we return to trading. On Friday, markets finished solidly higher. The Dow advanced 334 points, or more than 0.75%. The S&P 500 climbed 59 points, or 1%. The Nasdaq gained 291 points, or more than 1.5%. Bill, let's get into a new week with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're actually showing gains. We're up 0.41% this morning. So the rally continues. That's kind of good news. Listen, the market's focused on, the new administration. That's really where the focus is. Now, remember, there was supposed to be, a host of these, policies, including tariffs on China, and Mexico. Okay, none of these tariffs occurred. Okay, none of them occurred. Now, that's positive for the markets. I mean, China, Mexico and Canada 90-day review, that's April 1, but no action was taken. So, because no action is taken, no additional roadblocks are in there. So that's why you're seeing the market, actually react positive to no action, which is good. He did declare a national emergency, energy emergency on oil. He's going to be permitting, oil and gas production. He's looking to expand the oil and gas production here in the U.S. Wants to export more overseas. I get that. But there is some caution on that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the other key aspect today is earnings, because we got a lot of good earnings reports. Some came out this morning. We got more after the bell, and this is a really big week for earnings. So we got to keep that in mind. And I also want to point out that Davos conference in Switzerland is underway. President Trump is expected to remotely address the forum on Thursday. And then we're just kind of taking our attention. We're kind of taking a look at what's going on in Europe, and we're showing Europe was higher, and now it's flat to lower. It was flat to higher, now it's flat to lower. The DAX is down 16 points, or 0.8%. We are seeing some weakness in autos. The CAC is down 2 points, or 0.03%. You're seeing some positive action in financials, but weakness in energy shares. But France, trading higher by 8 points, or 0.11%. And guess what's moving higher? Luxury stocks. We're showing some growth in luxury stocks. Then we're taking turning our attention to Asia last night, where the Nikkei jumped 125 points, or 0.32%, with gains in chemical and chip stocks. Tomorrow's Wednesday, and that Bank of Japan meeting is Wednesday. So we'll have to, that's going to be very cautious trading in front of that meeting. Then we get the Hang Seng, which rose 180 points, or 0.91%. Listen, no tariffs on China is really the key story there. Shanghai finished, flat, lowered by 0.05%. Hong Kong closed higher, 6 straight sessions. That's kind of positive. We'll have to continue to wait and see if anything comes out on China policy from the Trump administration. But so far, Asian markets were overall higher this morning. And then we're taking a look. On oil this morning, because oil is a key driver, and then we're seeing big losses, about 1.5% lower. I mean, WTI is trading at 66. WTI is trading at $76.07. That's down 2.32%. Brent, on the other hand, is trading at $79.03. That's down, 1.4%. Plans to increase oil production. That's what the Trump administration is saying. That's, the catalyst for the drop of oil prices today. But oil prices were technically overbought. I want to, I'm a little cautious out there about, increased production, because, you look at the CEOs of Exxon and Chevron, they both came out and say that they're not planning to really increase oil production. There's costs to doing it. And when the costs are at $70 a barrel and oil's trading 76, it's kind of, it's a cautionary time to start increasing production. So just because a president wants to do it and opens up federal lands to do it, doesn't mean the oil companies will do it, because they're not going to do it unless they can make a profit at it. That's just the way the world works. Sorry. Great idea, but the follow through probably won't be there. And that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, I often say this when we're returning to our desks after an extended holiday weekend. To keep track of everything that happened and everything to look ahead to is no easy task as we get back to trading today and you're using your NewsWare to gather all of this information. And as we've heard here from your opening, a ton of focus on President Trump's inauguration, the first actions he's taking as president in these first couple days, and what of those events are moving markets today. We can hear that in your opening, certainly movement there. But as you also mentioned, there are other market moving pieces of news that we need to keep track of. And one of those areas is earnings action. A number of big players here that will be releasing. So Bill, give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to earnings action.
Let's start off with Charles Schwab, ticker SCHW. These guys beat by 10 cents on higher revenue. That stock's up 5.14% this morning. Then we're moving on to DH Horton, ticker DHI, David Henry India. They beat by 24 cents on higher revenue. DHI is up 4%. Then you got 3M, Minnesota Mining Manufacturing. They beat by 13 cents on higher revenue. 3M is trading higher by 4.22% this morning. So that's all positive. And then we're looking to what we're coming out later today after the bell. We got United Airlines, ticker UAL, Uncle Apple Larry. Their EPS is $3.01. Expected move is 7.92%. Then we got the big one, Netflix, ticker NFLX, Nancy Frank Larry X-Ray. EPS is $4.20 with an expected move of 8.83%. Now that's like a $75 move. I'm cautious here. I mean, I do think, there's some positive action, but the open interest is on the put side. So I do got to be cautious. That's why I wouldn't meet any of my models, because of the open interest on the put side. But that's what I have for you in terms of earnings announcements, Emily.
Bill, I have to take a pause here to point out 3M. That was your pick of the day on Friday. It had some movement upward on Friday, and as you mentioned, moving higher today. So by the end of the show, we will do a full check-in on that. Stick with us for that later in the show. Now we will get to economic events. It starts off slow here on this Tuesday, but some important things coming out later this week. Bill, give us a look at what we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Well, I mean, there's no economic events today. I mean, you do have the Davos conference that's going on. The key economic indicators for this week are going to be Friday's flash PMI data that's coming out. The oil reports are going to be a day late because of the Monday holiday. And then Fed speak is on hiatus because it's in a blackout period, because next week we have a Fed meeting. So it's a little light on the economic front this morning, Emily.
We will follow all of that data throughout the week as more comes out right here on NewsWare's Trade Talk. And Bill, you're following other pieces of information. As we can hear in the opening, there's plenty to be watching this morning around those headlines of the new presidential administration. And as you do every morning, you're looking at things like guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts. You're looking at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Doing a quick data check real quick. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 26 trading in the green, and I got 4 trading lower. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. They're all trading higher, with the exception of Apple, which is down like 2%. I mean, Apple got hit with a downgrade this morning due to the struggling iPhone sales in China. That will, it's cautious ahead for shares of Apple. Meta is counting on TikTok content creator is courting TikTok content creators with cash bonuses. So that's kind of useful. TikTok did get a reprieve, a 75-day reprieve from President Trump. It did go off on Sunday. It came back, within 24 hours. Basically, Trump promised to, review it. It's a global company. There's plenty of buyers willing to take a piece of it. We'll have to see what happens there. Then we got Netflix with the earnings after the bell. Recent changes of, additions of sports. Remember, they had that Mike Tyson fight. They had the NFL games on Christmas Day. I mean, these are going to expect to push subscriber levels higher, but I'm still worried about that elevated put open interest. That is a source of concern. So it's not hitting green on all my indicators with due to that. So I can't go with it, especially when it's going to move, $75 when those earnings come out this afternoon, Emily. Then we're looking at Dow Jones 30 stocks. Apple is dealing with the negative sentiment this morning. That's the key story stock this morning. In terms of guidance news, we're talking 3M, Minnesota Mining Manufacturing. They see full year 2025 adjusted EPS coming in $7.60 to $7.90. Street estimates $7.80. That's good enough. DHI, DR Horton, they're back in their 2025 a revenue view of 36 billion to 37.5 billion. Street estimates 37.09 billion. Okay, not great, but it's good enough to keep the stock moving higher. In terms of shareholders meetings, Monster Beverage, ticker MNST, Michael, Nancy, Sam, Tom, they're holding an investors meeting today. That's going to start at 4:45 p.m. this afternoon. What else do I see? Let's talk some catalyst calls. Deutsche Bank pays catalyst call idea on Corning, ticker GLW, Grace Larry Williams this morning. And JP Morgan placed positive catalyst watch on Logitech and Qualcomm, ticker LOGI, Larry, Oscar, Grace, India, and Qualcomm, ticker Quinton, Charlie, Oscar, Mary, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to start this week?
I'm going with ticker IBKR, India Boy, Kilo Richard, Interactive Brokers. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is at $1.81. Expected move is 7.92%. You're looking at Friday's call volume, 3,457 versus put volume of 1,095. Ooh, it's 3-1. And then you got call open interest, 26,241 versus 18,607. Again, like that. Multiple brokers are raising price targets. That's good to see. In terms of an enterprise, I want to get in under 191. I'm hoping in the 190 area, but we'll have to wait and see. It's still a ways up before the markets opens. 190 might be a little too low, so but I do definitely want to get in under 191, and that's my pick of the day today. IBKR, India Boy, Kilo Richard, Interactive Brokers today, Emily.
An earnings play today with Interactive Brokers. And as I pointed out earlier in the show, your pick of the day on Friday was an earnings play leading into earnings. So we will do a recap on that in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Got to point out Moderna. They just secured a big $500 billion plus loan from the feds for continued work on a bird flu vaccine. Walgreens, DOJ issues. Walgreens, the Department of Justice saying Walgreens is helped assist in the opioid crisis by filling prescriptions that should have been flagged. Let's see what else. Chinese retailers are trading higher as Trump administration refrains from issuing tariffs on day one. Costco, ticker COST, union workers vote to authorize a strike ahead of contract talks. JP Morgan's out there saying they're operating a war room to assess thoroughly the impact of Donald Trump administration on global trade regulations and other matters. Ford, the U.S. National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration said yesterday it's upgrading its probe into Ford motor vehicles over reports of collisions involving the company's hands-free driving technology, Blue Cruise. You can see some job cuts at Starbucks, SPUX. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off and dive into trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was 3M. As we noted earlier in the show, you did give us a look at the stock during your earnings rundown. 3M had an earnings per share of $1.33. That was up 17% from a year ago. The adjusted EPS came in at $1.68. That was ahead of consensus estimates. Sales rose 0.1% to $6.01 billion. That was ahead of estimates as well. You pointed out that guidance news during your NewsWare alerts rundown. We did already mention it. But Bill, how did your call work out?
Worked out great. I mean, you look at 3M. I mean, stock opened up at 139.65, then hit a high of the day of 141.66 and closed at 141.03. So, that was positive all around. And then, you look at the stock after earnings, stock's trading 146.65. I mean, that's up like 4%. So, yeah, Minnesota mining manufacturer 3M, Michael was a winner this morning, and Friday's call was a big winner. So, very happy with 3M, Emily.
A winner all around there, Bill, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Interactive Brokers pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.